What's good, everybody? Is when I come back at you with another video. So this video is going to be all about vibration, and the title of this video is "Control Your Vibration If You Wish to Control Your Life." Now, what inspired this video is a post that I've come across, and with this post, I'm going to read it for you guys. It says, "Anything or anyone that allows you to disturb, bother, or upset you becomes the master of your vibration and therefore your life." What you need to know first and foremost about vibration just means energy, it means frequency, it means the emotions that you're emitting, because emotions, if you look at the word emotion, right, if you hyphenate it, e dash motion, it is essentially energy in motion. So when you look at your emotions, you can see it as energy in motion. So that's what that is. So the way the law of attraction works is the energy that you put out is the energy that you receive in return in the form of people, events, and circumstances. The energy that you put out is the energy that gets attracted back to you. And what you need to understand is that the laws of the universe are constant, right? For example, a law that exists in the universe is the law of gravity. Law of gravity is a law because gravity is a constant. It always exists. There's never been a time where gravity randomly turned off, right? And if it did, even if it's for a split second, it would create so much chaos in the world, because who knows how much things will float up in the sky and then just fall right back down, right? Like, that's why gravity remains a constant, and it doesn't matter how much you don't believe in gravity. If you jump off the ground, you're going to be pulled right back. Same idea with law of attraction. You can believe that law of attraction doesn't exist. Cool. It's still going to function regardless of whether you believe in it or not. And you might think that this is not entirely true, but everyone has experienced moments of this, right? Everyone, let's just say we've all experienced days where it felt as though we couldn't catch a break, where it felt as though things just kept going bad, like one event after the other, nonstop for the rest of the day. And it could have been, the day could have started where you woke up late because you overslept past your alarm. And then while you're running to get ready, you accidentally stub your toe, on the side of your bed. And then because you're rushing, you might have forgotten your wallet or something at home, and maybe the umbrella. And as you're rushing out, you see that it's cloudy, and then out of nowhere, it just starts pouring. But you're already running late, so you're not going to run back and get the umbrella, right? And it could be as you're walking to your vehicle, or to take public transportation, whatever it is, you might have gotten too close to the curb, and then a car could be going really fast and it could splash water on you. And then maybe when you finally get to the office or wherever you're commuting and you have a coffee, maybe you accidentally take a wrong step, or you slip a little bit and then coffee gets up on you, right? Like, we've all experienced days like this, and I know you know what I'm talking about, right? That is effectively the law of attraction, right? Because once you woke up and realized that you were late, right, you've already had negative vibration. You were worried, you were anxious, you were concerned, right? Like, you were just in such a hurry, right? Feeling all this negative emotion. And because of that, it attracted events in your life in the form of people, events, and circumstances to match the vibration that you've been feeling. The same idea with positive energy, right? We've all had days where it felt like things, like nothing could go wrong, right? Because everything has just been perfect. Everything has been lining itself up. Everything has been functioning extremely well. That is the law of attraction, and that is vibration, right? That is how it works. The energy that you put out, the emotion that you put out, is what gets attracted to you, attracted back to you. So with this post right here, it says, anything or anyone that allows you to disturb, bother, or upset you becomes the master of your vibration and therefore your life. So what this quote means essentially is saying your vibration that you're putting out, the energy that you're putting out, is what effectively has created your life. So you have created everything in your life, and this is why you need to take responsibility for everything that's happening in your life, right? Because you created with the energy that you've been vibrating. Now, most people won't believe this to be true, right? Because they'll say, well, if I had the ability to create my life wouldn't be the way it is. But what you need to understand is most people are not deliberate creators. Most people create by default. And creating by default is essentially not being in control of your vibration, right? It just means reacting to everything and to anything and everything that unfolds in your life. That means allowing whatever it is, like giving your attention and your energy to everything, right? Not filtering things out or not being the gatekeeper of your energy, right? Many people, when they finish work, right, they'll go home and they'll immediately turn on the news. And the problem with that is the news are controlled by large corporations who are constantly pushing out specific agendas, right? So they have ideas of rhetoric and messaging that they want to give out to the mass public, but also more importantly, majority of the stories on the news are typically explosive stories. It's the biggest headline, the new drama, the incident that's happening in the world or in your local community, right? Oftentimes these are negative stories because negative stories is what gets people talking. It's the new drama, right? Drama sells. This is why, and I've felt this way even without truly knowing. Like when I was a lot younger, I felt like every single time like I would come across the news, because like my parents would put it on, it would be negative stories, and I would find myself feeling worse watching the news than I was prior to watching the news, right? Because of all the negative stories. And so on my own, I stopped watching news, and then it became apparent to me that that's the thing. Because, right, if we go back to what this post is saying, anything or anyone that allows you to disturb, bother, or upset you become the master of your vibration and therefore your life. There's a reason why the people in charge or the powers that be want to keep people vibrating low, because if you're vibrating low or negative energy, you are kept down, you are kept at the bottom. And with this channel, the point of this video and my videos in general is to help enlighten you, is to help wake you up, is to allow you to become a free thinker and critically think about your situation and your life to make the necessary adjustments and improvements so that you can live a happier, more fulfilling life, right? Most people are creating by default, right? Because most people don't believe that they have the power to create the life that they want. They think it's a lie. But if people have been conditioned to just react, right? As soon as something happens, they gotta react emotionally. Then you never had control over yourself or your life, right? Because you're just at the mercy of your environment and your set of circumstances, and you're at the mercy of whatever unfolds in life, right? Most people are like that. Most people are just following the crowd. The new social media platform that gets created, everyone jumps ship. Everyone has to follow. Everyone has to be on every social media platform. Everyone needs to know everything that's going on. I think everyone is always just so curious that they just always have to know at the expense of their own sanity. When I put down social media and I put down the news, it felt as though a burden was lifted from my shoulder. It felt as though, you begin to feel as though like everyone is doing, like when you have access to news and the media, right? Like for example, social media, right? You feel as though everyone is ahead of you in life. And then you realize that that's not necessarily the case. And if you look at the news, you begin to feel that like the whole world is falling apart and everything's collapsing and it's a bad place to live. And then you walk outside and you realize things are fine, right? It's sunny outside and people are walking their dogs and everyone is smiling. Completely different worlds and perspectives, right? What you vibrate is what you attract into your life, right? Most people do not filter out things, they just don't filter out things that do not serve them, right? People will make the excuse to watch the media to say that they watch the media and that they watch the news to remain informed because they need to know what's happening in the world. There's media outlets, like for example online somewhere, that has positive stories, that they talk about positive stories and positive things that happen in the world, right? You can use that as your news source if you care to learn about the news. But for me, I've never felt it to be that important that I need to know everything that's going on in the world, because for me, I'm creating the world that I want to create. I'm creating the reality that I want to create. I don't need to know what's going on in the world. Back then, we never knew what was going on in the world, because back then, a long time ago, at most, there were newspaper, there weren't phones, there weren't any of these things. So if something happened on the other side of the globe, you probably wouldn't even know. But now, because we have access to the internet and, the news and everything, now it's almost like we know everything that's going on in all parts of the world. Like, of course, because there's 8 billion people on the planet, there's bound to be some sort of incident or some sort of problem that's happening somewhere in the world. And yet it's always put front and center, because that is the drama that sells, right? People create by default because they're just not aware of what they're vibrating. They give their attention and their energy to all things. And so a lot of times they're vibrating negative energy, right? Because all of these platforms and the internet and all these places skew their perspective on life and reality. So they're pessimistic, they're anxious, they're worried about their future, they're concerned. So they're always vibrating negative energy. So because they're always vibrating negative energy and negative emotions, they're attracting negative things to them. They're attracting negative people, events, and circumstances into their lives. That's how it all works, right? So with this quote right here, right, if you're allowing that, whether it's someone else or something to bother or disturb your peace, or something that upsets you, it becomes the master of your vibration and therefore your life, because your vibration, what you put out, is what you attract into your life. So that is how you've created your entire life, through your own vibration. So you relinquishing that power to someone else or to another source pretty much puts them in control of your life, because they're controlling how you feel, and how you feel is what attracts people, events, and circumstances into your life. And that has been the truth about you since birth, that most people will remain oblivious about their entire lives. Most people have lived an entire life and have never learned or understood that about themselves. And I want to highlight that to you and remind you of this, to remind you of your power, because when you're aware of this, that is when you can now change from creating by default, right? Or being an unconscious, creator, to now transitioning into a deliberate creator. That's you being aware of your emotions and picking and choosing the emotion that you want to feel, so that you can begin creating the life that you want to create, right? People vibrate by default, and then disaster strikes, and then they just say, oh, well, it's life. All these events that happen in life, they're all random. You can never predict anything. It's all life. It's all random. That is someone who creates by default. That's someone who doesn't know the true power, doesn't know what they're actually doing. Someone who's a deliberate creator chooses the emotion that they want to feel, and they protect their energy at all costs, right? If we use an example, if we use like meditation as an example, some people think meditating is silly, right? But what meditating is you're actually just quieting your mind, and you're going to your quiet place, right? You're basically slowing down your thoughts or clearing out your mind entirely. You're taking deep breaths and you're relaxing yourself, because what you're doing is you're essentially reclaiming your vibration. You're resetting your vibration and you're moving to a positive scale. That's the point of meditating, right? And that's why it is so beneficial and so powerful to do, because it helps slow down the momentum of the negative energy, to then cut it off, to then transition into positive energy. So then you can be vibrating positive energy and reclaim your own power. So I say these things because I want to help you reclaim your vibration, and for you to be in control, remain in control more often, or, forever, right? Like, that is the goal. That is the goal, right? To be in charge of your vibration. No longer do I want you to allow your external world or your physical world to control your vibration. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the other way around. You are supposed to be in control of your vibration, because your vibration is what creates the world around you. So this is why when there seems to be bad events or bad this, bad that, right, I don't entertain it. I turn my back to it, because I understand that me getting all worked up about this negative thing is not serving me. It's me relinquishing my power to that event or to that person, and I'm not going to do that, right? I would much rather turn my back and laugh at that negative event, knowing that with my vibration, with my positivity, that it's going to create something better and it's going to change that negative event in my life. That is a difference right there. That is how you go from creating by default, which is just letting your vibration run rampant, up and down, positive, negative, positive, negative, 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 right? To then having it be just positive all the time. When you understand yourself and your true power, that is how you begin operating. And that's why you'll also begin tapping into having a more positive attitude and a positive outlook. That's why you'll be smiling more often, because you understand that you are in fact in control, that you are not a victim to the world around you or to your set of circumstances. You've created everything that's in your life. And so even if you've created disaster, right, you can just as easily, if not quickly and even quicker, change it, right, and create the life that you want to create. So even through adversity, whatever it is, you can still smile through it all, because you know that you're going to create something even better that's going to be amazing. So just remember, the goal for you is to control your vibration. The goal for you is to become the master of your vibration. And you do that by being in control of your thoughts and your emotion. Stop relinquishing your power to other people, to other things, to social media, to actual media like the news, all these things, right? Begin protecting your energy, begin gatekeeping that and protecting it at all costs, because you want to remain in control of your life and you want to begin creating the life that you want to live. And that is how you begin doing that. So if you wish to control your life, you have to control your vibration, because you are nothing more than energy. Everything that exists in this planet is nothing more than energy. It is all made up of energy. You, trees, cinder blocks, a television, a vehicle, a controller, a wallet, a cell phone, it doesn't matter what it is. At the molecular level, everything's made up of atoms, and atoms made up of energy. Therefore, everything is energy. So everything in this planet is literally energy. So vibration is all there is and all that matters. So you want to begin creating the life that you want to create, you need to begin focusing on your energy and your vibration, right? And you need to protect it at all costs. So remember, anything that you allow to upset you and get you mad and frustrated, well, nothing can get you mad, right? You choose the emotion that you feel, right? And we're all guilty of saying it. I know I've been guilty many times in my life of saying that, but that is technically incorrect, right? Nothing can make you feel anything. You choose the feeling, right? So you want to remain in control, and you don't want to allow anything to upset you or make you feel bad, because then that thing or that person will become the master of your vibration and therefore the master of your life. And you want to make sure you're in control, and you do that by controlling your vibration, right? That will finally allow you to control your life. So that wraps up the video. Enjoy the video. Do leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to a million subscriber, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.